Great. Okay. Sorry, I had to do this 3 times. Um, we truly are almost done. Okay.
What I was advising.
Last last slide here, guys. So applications and considerations, and then I'd love to open up for questions for just a few minutes. So yeah, for loneliness interventions, LLM, voice chatbots. I know this is controversial, especially even in this room, but I would love to hear more about that too. But yeah, chatbot tools that may provide temporary accessible support, like we saw that it did reduce loneliness. They did feel some synchrony. They felt a little bit of that that they had that increase of relaxed HRV. So interesting, maybe. I don't know. Some of the research shows that it's not very good um, with extended use. Some of the bigger studies from OpenAI and the big companies, Microsoft even partnered with MIT, and they're just showing that like extended use, overuse is not good for health, specifically mental health. They haven't looked at like a lot of the other health measures. Yeah. So maybe temporary though. Maybe a bridge. And it should complement but not replace human connection. Understanding loneliness, health connection, not just stress, but failure to engage systems. Maybe, like you were saying, like, is it just sympathetic activation but not stress? I don't know. It would be interesting to test that further too. But yeah, important to understand.
I mean, it's old research, but the line of research looking at challenge versus threat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of the stress,
Well,
like threat stress versus challenge stress. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like blanking out on who it was that did that research. It's cool though. Okay. For public health, or sorry, yeah, back to romantic loneliness. Maybe it's a unique risk factor. We need to do more research to find out. And then for public health, short-term connection costs may be a barrier. So education about normality of initial discomfort and stress. Like it's stressful to go to an event with friends. Um, it's stressful to meet somebody new or to go on a first date or to, all these things, but like, is it worth it? I think so. AI tools as a scaffolding for re-engagement, I think could be helpful, but we gotta be careful. And then, yeah, potentially focusing on romantic loneliness in young adults could be also helpful if that directionality thing is solved. So, yeah, and that is all I have. So, thank you for being here.
so I want to first have just the committee members ask questions.
Okay, perfect.
And then if we have time, we can allow for
Great.
additional questions.
Sounds good.
Um, if you'll go back to your last slide, just
Yes, yeah, for sure.
um, I'll just go back to what I put a pin in.
Yeah.
Romantic.
Romantic loneliness, yeah.
So, I'm just trying to think through in a way, following up on Scott's question.
Yeah.
And do we think this is like a real finding versus something spurious? Um, and this was not a romantic context, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like there was nothing in there. So, but so I'm just curious how you are thinking of this as that or that particular finding. Um, I guess how real do you think it is?
I mean, it was significant. And I mean, so it was part of the part of it that was a part of the pre-registration was that we wanted to see if chronic loneliness overall, right, like just generally, which included both UCLA and the Celsus scale, was a moderator for like that blunting effect, or like moderated the how did they react HRV wise.
So this is what they brought with them to the situation.
Mhm.
And so when you say the blunting, is that their baseline then?
So blunting would be how compared to the baseline it like so in it without loneliness, if they aren't lonely, what does it look like versus if they are lonely, is that like
Right,
right? Is that
but
what you mean?
you measured these before and after. Because
Yeah.
you also showed changes, right? So
So
this baseline level of romantic loneliness.
oh yeah, so sorry for the confusion. Yeah, so the SELSA was just trait level, not before or after. And so the intervention itself wouldn't have changed their like there was no change like before or after for the romantic loneliness. It's that romantic people who are romantically lonely trait level were like their HRV was blunted. Yeah. Good question though. It's kind of I hate explaining moderation.
I have other questions, but I want
Yes.
to, Wendy and Scott and Jared, 'cause I can keep talking to you later. I would like
Yeah.
them to, ask some questions.
Mine still goes back to, I think, it's so difficult to create a relationship that you're willing to be open with. And simply, how long? 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. That
Yeah.
would be the only thing. So I would ask if you were going to replicate this, if you were going to do it again, how would you fix that? Could you fix it?
Okay, if I had all the money in the world, I would it would be longitudinal. I would start with strangers, but then I would take those same people and see if over time, like bring them back into the same room again.
Same people?
Same people.
Okay.
And then see how does that develop? Like how did Jeff Hall do it, right? How did he track people who were strangers, who went from strangers to best friends, and then came up with this like 200 hours fact figure? I was like, okay, that's an expensive longitudinal study, but
Mhm.
that would be cool. But like add the physiology to it.
Okay, so what if you brought in somebody that was already a friend instead of having a confederate to it?
I would love to do that. Yeah, I would love to do that as well. What I suggested in the longer version of the dissertation is to have a couple of different things. That is one of them. The stranger to friend, and then social media, which was actually Jared's suggestion, is in the prospectus of like what we should use as the control group. I wish I would have done that now. But having people engage on social media, try to connect on social media, but like compare those two. Um, and also include AI as it evolves. But yeah, friends, family, romantic.
Do you think it would be different if you brought in an actual friend?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I don't know, but
Sure.
I think so. Um, there was one, well, yeah, we were careful, but there was one where they came in together. It was I don't know if it was a husband and wife or friends,
Two friends.
two friends. Yeah, and like one of them was knitting and like she knit while the other one was in the room and like they were in different conditions and it was like, okay, we're gonna be careful here to not let them, you know, find out what's going on. But even the fact that they came together, I was like, that's kind of a confound, right? Because they feel comforted. I don't know, like they're just comfortable, more comfortable than coming alone. So yeah, it's a good question though. I would love to do that, so that'd be super interesting. So yeah, or romantic would be really interesting too. So yeah, yeah. Any other questions?
Can we
Scott?
look again briefly at the HRV outcomes across the time points?
Yes.
And I'm becoming increasingly slowly familiar with the HRV procedures. And I just want to mount this onto your understanding, but
Yeah.
like, so for a lot of these, the control group, were they just a little bit more nervous on average? At the beginning time points, it seems like they're kind of consistently lower. Is
Yeah.
that just kind of noise or just random differences in the sample?
Yeah, so this is the crazy one for me.
Yeah,
Look at that.
yeah.
These are
So
baseline scores.
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
kind of just noise?
I think so. It's weird, random, but like we controlled for that because because I was like, wait a second, because these are statistically like significantly different, right? Like big time right here, right? And so between the control and the human, it was like, whoa. Um, so and that they all even like ended similarly.
Yeah,
That's
they all
just-
do kind of end up in the same place across those.
Yeah.
But I do,
With SDNN specifically, there's a huge difference. Um, sorry, go ahead.
but I do think it's cool. I mean, how you have the multiple time points and what are those like 5 minute intervals?
5 minute bins each. Yeah, so there's
Um,
20, 30 minutes across all of them.
and it does help to kind of show there look like different patterns across those groups as far as how they're responding to their condition. And so, what, but it does look like the control group, for example, like, are they a little more stressed out through their control procedure than even like the human condition?
I would think it's more so some of them so yeah, like this one, it goes down quite a bit and then comes up. Um, I think the sympathetic activation is maybe, I mean, that's a good question, but I think it's maybe because of how just boring these readings were. I don't know. Like it was just like you're reading really, I mean, written by ChatGPT instruction manual for a digital camera or like how to put a bookshelf together. And like you have to read the whole thing, like it's a part of the, and just we instruct them like just keep reading, until we come and get you.
Okay.
And so it's like, oh gosh. But I don't know if, yeah,
And
could be
like,
that.
so similarly, I'm just thinking about the human condition. I mean, that's probably, so it's socially stressful, like there's some distress. This is a weird situation, what are
Right.
you making me do?
Yeah.
And then in some of these cases at the end, it's like they recover. And is that recovery when it happens just a relief of good heavens, I'm glad I'm out of that thing?
Yeah.
And I guess
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, would you see the same thing if they were taking an ice bath and then they jump out, whoo, I'm out,
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, I don't have enough familiarity to know if like this kind of social test
It would be interesting.
map onto something like that. That's just
Yeah.
like some kind of physiological
That would be a
distress.
really interesting, like benchmark, actually, like the ice bath specifically, because it's like kind of a popular thing. Especially for HRV to see like, okay, like baseline to afterwards, maybe not ice bath for 20 minutes, because that would probably be like hypothermia, but like, even 5 minutes or 3 minutes is what like Huberman, I guess, says. But like that, to before and after, yeah, how would that compare? That'd be a cool benchmark. I don't know. There's probably data out there on.
Well, there's a whole literature on the cold presser task, which is literally putting ice, either your hand in ice or
Nice.
ice on your forehead.
Yeah, Vigil.
And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. Um, that would be cool to look at as well.
Okay, I'm okay for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
can I
you.
just follow up on his, and I
Yeah.
want to make sure, I just can't remember, I can scroll, but your dissertation's so long.
I know. Yeah, sorry.
But did you adjust for baseline levels? Given that there was a difference, or at least there looked like there was a difference, maybe?
Yeah, so yeah, let's look at the SDNN as well. Yes, the answer is yeah, we adjusted And I talked about that a little bit in the
Okay.
methods, yeah. But yes,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I just couldn't
huge
remember
difference.
offhand and wanted to make sure.
So, but yeah, we accounted for it, controlled for baseline HRV in like the change score models.
Okay.
And then the trajectory analysis used within person changes with the multi-level models with random intercepts that accounts for the individual baseline differences. So yeah.
Okay, Scott,
It's
sorry,
interesting.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Scott, are you there?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, I am.
Any more questions, Scott, or should we open it up to?
Yeah, let me just ask one more. I just want to hear you kind of puzzle through this a little bit more because it seems like the conversational connections with humans is superior in some domains, but inferior in early physiological responses. And so I'm curious just what you think this reveals. Is there a broader takeaway? I know you've talked a little bit about the kind of blunted reactivity, but I wonder if you could just put that together into a takeaway for me. Like if I'm trying to explain this to someone at dinner tonight, like what's the takeaway in terms of humans versus chatbots from your study?
Yeah, I would I would say that uh they well, based on this data alone, um that there's acute benefits. I would never use the word acute at dinner, but but the yeah, short-term benefits that could come from increasingly anthropomorphized chatbots. But a lot of the literature, not this data, would also say that long term it may not be good to habitualize connecting with a chatbot only, specifically only with a chatbot. Can it be used as a bridge? Yeah, I think so, especially for people with social anxiety, um, who need to learn how to communicate. Um, in the younger, like our mean age, I think was 20.9, something like that. So almost 21. And that age group, I think a lot of them could use a little help with figuring out how to socially connect. And they're very lonely in across all the age groups, right? Like Gen Z, I think, is the highest. Um, but not a substitute for sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
And
follow up.
what,
Oh, no, go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say, and why do you think that is? And let me give you maybe some, I know that you're not a clinician, but when you study what drives the effects in psychotherapy, and
Yeah.
you look at what people call common factors, which is essentially that most therapies are more similar than different in terms of the guts that are underneath them.
Yeah.
And the biggest one that seems to drive the biggest chunk of variance in outcomes is what we call therapeutic alliance.
Be pretty clients. Yeah.
There's sort of like some people would say three, some people would say two components. The first one is there's a true bond. There's like a connection
Yeah.
between the two of you. The second one is that they seem competent and aligned with you. And it
Mhm.
seems like maybe yeah, I could do some of that, but not the other part. Like I'm just curious what you think about that. Like what is it that's different when you're in a room as a Confederate, which you did, compared to what the chatbot is doing?
So there's a whole like section in the introduction that I did tweak a little bit from the prospectus just because it's evolving so much. And I even cited your paper, Scott, with the whatever the Turing test paper. And I think there's some interesting chatbots out there right now. One called Ash that's got 92 million in funding, that's specifically designed to be a therapist. And how to get to that therapeutic alliance with a chatbot, I think you would have to you would have to anthropomorphize it. The more the patient can anthropomorphize the chatbot, the higher that therapeutic alliance will be, I think. So they have to believe, even if they know that it's not, but they have to, in some way, even if it's, subconsciously believe that this is a human that they're talking to, and that they can trust it, and that they think that it understands them. Um, I think I think that would add to the therapeutic alliance, like increasing. Um, do I think that's healthy over time? I don't know. I don't know. But are there situations where somebody needs acute like help, where they can't go to a therapist or even a hospital, but they could chat with a chatbot like right now or in the 3 in the morning? I think those are some cases where it could be really helpful. But I don't know if that answers your question about therapeutic alliance, but I would say the anthropomorphizing is a huge factor, and not just in my data, but in the literature.
Yeah, just because I don't want to take up the time, I want to just hear this last thing and then I'll give it back to Julianne. Do you think that it's possible for a chatbot to do that? Or is it like that connection actually requires a real human? Like, is there an upper
Yeah,
limit
yeah, not right now. Sorry, is there an upper limit?
to what
Um,
to what a chatbot can do as long as someone knows it's a chatbot?
yes, I believe there is. I'm just gonna draw the line.
And what is the difference? Like, I guess that's the thing that I'm wondering is what is the difference? Is it
Yeah,
that
what
someone
is
knows
that
it's not
threshold?
real? Is it that humans are capable of doing something that's completely different? They can make connections in a way that the chatbots couldn't. What is it?
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like I wish we had an hour and we could do like a podcast episode about this. Because yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, but I think that biologically we need other humans, and I mean, this is about heart rate variability. We measured, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of heartbeats. Like, a robot doesn't have that, and like not having that and other human characteristics, I think won't have the same effect. Yeah, and not just like the perception of anthropomorphizing somebody as thinking that they're human, but even touch. Like, I go into detail in the dissertation, not in the CHB paper, about that. A little bit of like some of the studies on touch and physiological outcomes and psychological outcomes, and you can't touch your therapist very much, and there's some rules about that, but being in the same room, breathing the same air, I don't know. I think it would be worth quantifying that, because I think that there need to be, first of all, like established guidelines for both the positive, but as well as like the guardrails for the things we got to watch out for and not do with AI. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one last final question.
Hey.
So right before I came here, I needed to provide advice and uh, evidence. Here's, this is actually happening. Uh, they announced oversight and investigation hearing on the safety of artificial intelligent AI chatbots.
Yeah.
This is happening in DC. Policymakers, regulators, there are vested interests of tech companies.
Yeah.
There are various interests that come to play in these sorts of things.
Lots of money.
So, with evidence, it can often be spun to tell lots of stories. In your evidence, how could it be misused?
Using my data. Uh, wow. I think extrapolating.
In other words, I'm asking you, like, how could someone maybe conclude something that we can't really say from this data?
Right. Well, I mean, the effects on loneliness were pretty teeny. But so, as you know, media misuses things all the time. So they could say, how could it be misused? They could have a headline that says, new study finds that chatbot you know, that humans connect with chatbot and chatbot is superior to humans in, you know, stress reduction or something like that. So that would be a way that that would be misconstrued without it, the context. And yeah, that would be very easy to happen.
Sometimes we think about like, oh, here's my finding,
Right.
but then like,
We need more data.
where's the bigger context and how it's being used
Yeah.
in real life and the kinds of decisions that are being made based on these findings.
Totally. I think there's a lot of positive stuff too, but I would want to have, I would want to be cautious.
Yeah. I realize our timing, we actually only have 4 minutes left.
Yeah, sorry.
So I apologize. I don't think we're gonna have time for additional questions.
Okay.
But we do need to have the committee members meet.
Yeah, perfect.
So
So everybody else other than
we need to keep Scott on,
Scott?
but everybody else should can you verify that everyone else has gotten off before
Yeah.
you leave the room?
Well, thanks everybody for
And then
coming.
we'll have you step out, but we'll invite you back in after we've had a chance to deliberate.
Andy, do you want to turn the recording off? I don't know. You guys want?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Turn off the, yeah, I can.
Just thought that might be a good idea.